टिकटकमा फेसबुकमा इन्स्टाग्राममा यो धेरै देखिन्छ.
Beyond discussions on digital oversight, the Commission addressed local-level election challenges. On Monday, officials met with representatives from all 7 provinces to identify potential issues and solutions. Meanwhile, chief election officers and election officers have now been appointed in all 77 districts, strengthening preparation at the grassroots level. As Nepal approaches its national polls, the Election Commission is balancing the opportunities offered by digital technology with the urgent need to safeguard the electoral process from misinformation, ensuring the elections are credible both domestically and internationally.
The closed list of candidates submitted by parties for proportional representation system is still far from being finalized, but some have already rejected their nomination. Few questions arise here. First, how did the name become public? And the second, will the withdrawal through social media posts be enough to make their nomination null and void? Smithu Gisingtaman tries to find the answer.
As Election Commission of Nepal is busy in reviewing the closed list submitted by parties for proportional representation system, some celebrities have announced their withdrawal through social media. The list is still under the purview of the election body, and it has started consultation with the 64 political parties who have submitted the closed list to revise it. As the list is still under consideration, social media since a week has been abuzz over some of the names submitted. Irrespective of the confirmation of the Commission, some individuals said to have been included by Rashtriya Swatantra Party (RSP) in its closed list bowed down to the social media pressure and withdrew their names. Among the individuals are Dr. Trishala Gurung, Sachin Dakal and Asif Shah, who have announced their withdrawal through social media. Will their personal withdrawal by posting a status on social media be enough, or the parties need to revise the list? Spokesperson at the Election Commission Narayan Prasad Batrai said the PR system follows a party-based nomination process and any changes must follow the official legal framework and timelines.
If anyone who is listed in that list and want to withdraw their name, they can do in post 28. So we have seen in some social medias, I have already withdrawn, I will not be the candidate. That is their voice. And officially, if they withdraw their name in post 28, it will be finalized and officially noted. Before that, we cannot say who will withdraw or not.
As per the timeline for the March 5 election, parties have to revise and submit the corrected list by January 11. This will be followed by another chance for candidates to withdraw if they wish to by January 12. The Commission will provide a week-long deadline for political parties to end replacements, if any. The final closed list of the political parties will be published by the Commission on January 18 under the proportional representation system.
We have provided some letter to political parties to correct their list according to law. It will continue up to post 27, and according to that program, post 28 is that date in which date the candidate can withdraw their name from the list. After that, we will inform the political party who have already withdrawn that list, and the political party will send next candidate in that post.
Though the list is still far from being final, the propaganda on social media and withdrawal by some candidates speaks of the increasing influence of digital landscape in Nepali political sphere as well. The essence of proportional representation is to reserve the participation of all clusters as per their demographic presence. Irrespective of who and what, the debate will definitely help ensure the essence of the proportional representation system. With camera person Samir Thapa, Smithu Gisingtaman reporting for NTV World.
A political merger has been forced among Rashtriya Swatantra Party (RSP), former leadership of Nagarik Unmukti Party and Tharu Hut campaigners. A 9-point agreement has been inked among these parties and groups at a program organized to announce the political integration today. The agreement states that a legal and constitutional process would be initiated to declare the Tharo-dominated area as a Tharo-protected special zone for the protection and promotion of the religious and cultural system of Tharo community. The agreement also acknowledges the Tikapur incident occurred in 2015 as a political incident, and all signatory parties of the agreement expressed their commitment to implement the recommendations furnished by all high-level committees related to peace and security upon the formation of the federal government in the leadership of RSP. They have also agreed to fully implement the reservation allocated for Tharo communities across all public, including civil service, judicial service and police, in accordance with the prescribed quota for reserved categories. They have also consented to take initiatives to forge an all-party consensus and ensure good governance in the provinces, taking into account geography, population, capacity and cultural identity. Meanwhile, speaking at the program during RSP's merger with other political forces, the party's chair Ravi Lamichhane said it is a historic moment to forge alliance with other parties and prove themselves in the election.
इतिहासले दिएको यो अवसरलाई हामीले व्यक्तिगत लाभका लागि र पार्टीका लाभका लागि खर्च गर्नेवाला छैनौं, देशको हितका लागि समर्पित गर्नेछौं। कसले के गरे के गरेन अब त्यो व्याख्याको काम छैन। निर्वाचन मार्फत जनताले आफ्नो अभिमत जाहेर गर्नेछन्। त्यो अभिमत मार्फत हामीले नयाँ इतिहास कोर्नु छ एकै पटक। त्यो इतिहासलाई यहाँहरूले सक्नुहुन्छ भने योगदान दिनुहोस्, सक्नुहुन्न भने बिथोल्ने कोसिस नगर्नु होला, किनकि मुलुक अब कुनै पनि किसिमको अप्ठ्यारो परिस्थितिबाट होइन, सहज परिस्थितिबाट अगाडि बढ्न चाहन्छ।
And those were our stories in Issue of the Day segment. Now, cold temperatures are intensifying across Nepal, with snow expected in high Himalayan regions and frost in the hills. In the Tarai Madhesh, weeks of extreme cold and fog have disrupted daily life, increased respiratory illnesses, especially among children and the elderly, and sparked public frustration over the lack of timely relief and protective support for vulnerable communities. A look into how the dip in mercury is affecting Nepal in our cover story segment after this short break. Welcome back to NTV World News Hour. And now in our cover stories segment, temperatures across the country have been steadily dropping in recent days, affecting daily life. The Meteorological Department has said the cold is expected to intensify in the coming days. Snow is likely in high Himalayan regions, frost in the hills, and cold waves with fog in the Tarai Madhesh district. The department adds that there is no immediate chance of rain and winter precipitation is expected to remain low, similar to previous years.
देशभरको तापक्रम कुरा गर्दाखेरि जुम्लामा -6 सम्म पुगेको अवस्था छ हैन, काठमाडौँको हकमा चाहिँ 3.5 सम्म झरेको अवस्था छ। त्यसले गर्दाखेरि हिजो आज चाहिँ अलिकति तापक्रम चाहिँ घटेको अवस्था, विशेष गरेर बिहानको न्यूनतम तापक्रम भन्छौं रातभरि चिसिने क्रम चाहिँ त्यो देखिन्छ। र अलिकति तराईको हकमा कुरा गर्दाखेरि तराईमा पनि केही तापक्रम चाहिँ हिजोभन्दा आज घटेको अवस्था छ, विशेष गरेर यो रातिको तापक्रम छ। र अलिकति फरक के छ भन्दा तराईमा चाहिँ 1-2 दिनमा घाम पनि लागेको अवस्था छ, लामो समय हुस्सो लाग्थ्यो, बिहानको समयमा हुस्सो लाग्ने, केही दिउँसो पक्क खुल्ने, त्यो भएर तराईको एयरपोर्टहरू पनि खुलेको अवस्था छ। हामी मध्य जाडोमै छौँ भनौँ न, अरू 15-20 दिन अझै चाहिँ जाडोको रहने देखिन्छ। विगतका वर्षहरू हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ हिउँदयाममा वर्षा चाहिँ कम हुँदै आएको छ। गत वर्ष पनि हाम्रो जम्मा चाहिँ 60 मिलिमिटर 12 मिलिमिटर मात्रै वर्षा भयो एभरेजमा भनौँ देशभरि। अहिले त त्यो वर्षा पनि भएको छैन। अलिअलि पश्चिम वायुको प्रभावले गर्दाखेरि के वर्षा हुने हो, त्यो पश्चिम वायु त्यति स्ट्रङ खालको बलियो खालको चाहिँ प्रणाली भित्रिएको अवस्था छैन। त्यसले गर्दाखेरि कम वर्षा भएको छ। उच्च हिमाली भूभागमा केही हिमपात भयो भने पहाड र तराईमा सुक्खा जस्तै छ। तत्कालै आगामी 2-4 दिनमा त्यस्तो वर्षा हुने प्रणाली पनि भित्रिने देखिएको छैन।
In Nepal's Tarai Madhesh region, extreme cold, dense fog and icy winds have made daily life difficult for the past 3 weeks. Severe cold, which began in the first week of Posh, has disrupted life in Janakpur and other districts across the region. At Koshi Hospital in Viratnagar, doctors report a rise in patients suffering from asthma, pneumonia and seasonal flu. During winter, around 35 to 40 patients seek treatment daily, with the elderly and children being the most affected. Locals, meanwhile, have expressed frustration over the lack of relief measures. Vulnerable communities have yet to receive warm clothes, blankets or other support, prompting residents to urge authorities to provide immediate assistance and protective measures against the harsh cold. Now, while the Constitution guarantees citizens the right to housing, 371 families in Kanchanpur remain forced to live in temporary shelters amid harsh cold wave. These families, displaced for over 24 years after losing their property to the state, continue to face severe hardships due to the delay in timely resettlement. Authorities say the prolonged lack of proper housing has made daily life extremely challenging for the affected communities. Vijeta Bhandarvi reports with district correspondent Durga Upadhyay.
Octogenarian Chupri Chetri braves the winter chill in her tent, one among many plastic structures set up some 24 years ago to shelter the homeless rendered while extending the Shuklafata National Conservation Area. The hundreds of tents inside the Division Forest Office in Bhimdatta Municipality in Nepal's southernmost Kanchanpur district house 371 families who lost their land 24 years ago.
इसी अवस्था तक यहीं बसिया छु सरकार देलो के भनेर बसिया छु खोइ दिने हो कि तर्ते हो कि
Like Chupri, most women, children and senior citizens in the camp face the same challenge every year, be it winter or summer. With no secure access to food or shelter, these families survive by doing daily wage labor while seeking justice. Leaking roofs and the cold from the ground have made sleep difficult, while the lack of warm clothing and safe shelter is increasing health risk. The failure to rehabilitate them in time has made their daily lives increasingly difficult. The displaced blame the government for neglecting them, despite repeated calls for providing the compensation. Though over 2,200 families had been displaced when the government authorized the then conservation area for land acquisition 24 years ago, only few have received the state-rendered compensation. In these 24 years, many families left the camp, losing hope of any relief from the government, except for these 371 families who are still hopeful. The government then stopped the compensation distribution program, as many others who were not the real displaced started claiming the compensation as it was the time of emergency. The displaced have no option for the moment but to brave the winter chill this year, and who knows for how many more.
Now, in our Public Pulse segment, we asked people in Dhanusha how they are protecting themselves from the intensifying winter chill. Here's what they had to say.
सभा तो कोनो अवस्था नहीं कर रहा जनता हमर मर जाऊ राजा जी नहीं गाने एगो जरना दिल के या एक तापला इ पानी पियला एगो कल दै छै तरस के मरे छै इ मेयर इ वारस कोनो अवस्था नहीं करे
के कारण में सर माने काम धंधा नहीं लगे छै देखे छियै बूढ़ बेटा के माने बैठल रहे छै धिया पुता के दिक्कत है कमाई नहीं मिले छै कमाई सब न होय छै हाँ ठंडी मौसम में सब बैसल रहे छै त कथि कहै छियै से कोन सबके समस्या भ गेल है इहे सबके समस्या सब है कहाँ जाओ काम कर कहूँ जाइए त अपन घर में आके बैठ जाय छै नहीं काम धंधा होय छै
ठंडी तो 20-22 दिन से ठंडी है हमरा सब ने जरना काटे नहीं खाना खाए व्यवस्था नहीं कुछ नहीं सहयोग कोनो चीज के भेटल नहीं 3 साल कम्बलो से बांटे चले जरनो बांटे चले एम की साल तक कोनो अवस्था नहीं हम सब अपने ठंडी ने मर रहल छी और सरकार कोनो व्यवस्था नहीं करे मेर नहीं करी कोनो सब करबे नहीं करी देखबे नहीं करी जनता के तो की करी हम सब ठंडी ने हम सब ए मंदिर ल हम हनुमान नगर एक मंदिर लागत कतो से लाबै छी भूसी तुसी लाबै छी त घूर पाई के दशा नहीं तपै छी जरना सब कथु नहीं दे रहल
सब चीज के दिक्कत है, लत्ता कपड़ा के कमाहू में दिक्कतें ही नहीं है, अभी ठंडी में सब चीज के दिक्कत है सर।
That was our cover story segment of the day. Moving on, Nepal's Council of Ministers has approved a grant for the Gen Z movement Martyrs Family Welfare Society. According to Minister for Communications and Information Technology, Jagadish Kharel, the society will implement welfare programs for the families of martyrs of the Gen Z movement. The cabinet also approved a labour agreement between Nepal and Israel, as well as a memorandum of understanding with Oman. It approved the order to blend ethanol in petrol and the third amendment of the Forest Regulations 2082.
राष्ट्रिय अनुसन्धान विभागको अतिरिक्त मुख्य अनुसन्धान निर्देशक पदमा अनुसन्धान निर्देशक ओम बहादुर खड्कालाई बढुवा गर्ने निर्णय भएको छ। 2. समस्याग्रस्त सहकारी संस्थाको सम्पत्ति व्यवस्थापन तथा दायित्व भुक्तानी सम्बन्धी कार्य गर्ने व्यवस्थापन समितिको सदस्य पदमा श्री कुलप्रसाद नेउपानेलाई मनोनयन गर्ने निर्णय भएको छ। 3. जेनजी शहीद परिवारको लागि कल्याणकारी कार्यक्रम सञ्चालन गर्न जेनजी शहीद परिवार कल्याणकारी समाजलाई अनुदान उपलब्ध गराउने निर्णय भएको छ। 4. नेपाल सरकार र ओमान सरकार बीच हुने समझदारी पत्र स्वीकृत गर्ने निर्णय भएको छ। 5. नेपाल सरकार र इजरायल सरकार बीच हुने श्रम सम्झौता स्वीकृत गर्ने निर्णय भएको छ। 6. पेट्रोलमा इथानोल मिश्रण गरी प्रयोगमा ल्याउने सम्बन्धी आदेश 2082 स्वीकृत गर्ने निर्णय भएको छ। 7. वन तेस्रो संशोधन नियमावली 2082 स्वीकृत गर्ने निर्णय भएको छ।
The government is set to conduct Nepal's second national economic census from mid-March to mid-July, aiming to present a comprehensive picture of the country's economy through reliable statistical data. The National Statistics Office unveiled the schedule, logo and the theme of the census at a program today. The census will be conducted from March 15 to July 16 under the theme Economic Census for Measuring Economy. The office spokesperson and Deputy Chief Statistics Officer Dhundi Raj Lamichhane said the census will generate essential data to support economic policy making, development planning and long-term strategies, with results to be released gradually from the fiscal year 2026-27. The census will collect data on industries, trade, services, cooperatives and public-private institutions across 18 major economic sectors, building on the first economic census conducted 7 years ago. Now, trade through the Rasuaguri International Border Point with China has resumed after 6 months. The border had been closed following the destruction of a permanent bridge by floods on September. According to Rasuaguri Customs Office, a Bailey bridge was constructed over Lende River with support from the Chinese government, allowing imports and exports to restart. According to customs data, over 3 billion rupees worth of Chinese goods, including apples, ready-made garments, electric vehicles and spare parts have been imported till mid-December. Since the reopening, around 96 containers carrying goods from China have entered Nepal. Nepali exports to China include statues, carpets, bamboo mats, handicrafts, handmade paper, copper decorations and hay. The 7th series of the Unification March, organized by Nepal Army to promote tourism along the historical unification route, has officially begun. The march started from Hanuman Bhanjang near Gorkha Darbar and will continue until it reaches Hanuman Dhoka Darbar in Kathmandu on 11th of January. The march is part of 304th celebration of Prithvi Jayanti and National Unity Day. It aims to preserve and promote historical monuments, forts and sites along the unification route. The Nepal Army has been organizing this march since 2020 to combine tourism development with the commemoration of Nepal's unification history. U.S. Ambassador to Nepal, Dean R. Thompson, paid a farewell call on Prime Minister Sushila Karki. During the meeting held today at the Office of the Prime Minister and Council of Ministers, matters related to various aspects of bilateral relations between the two countries were discussed, according to Prime Minister's Secretariat. International news coming up next, but before that, a quick look into the headlines once again. District Administration Parsa imposes indefinite curfew in Birganj following protests over Dhanusha incident. Nepal Election Commission steps up poll preparations as digital misinformation emerges as major election challenge. Displaced families in Nepal's Kanchanpur struggle in temporary shelters amid harsh cold wave and delayed resettlement. Uncertainty over Tribhuvan University cricket ground lease raises questions about Nepal's future international cricket infrastructure. Delcy Rodriguez to be sworn in as Nicolas Maduro faces U.S. court appearance amid tensions. And T20 World Cup 2026 trophy arrives in Nepal ahead of historic public display and cricket celebration. At least 26 people drowned and 14 others are missing after a boat carrying farmers and fishermen capsized in northeastern Nigeria. The accident occurred while the passengers were traveling across a river in a remote area of the region. Rescue teams recovered several bodies, while search operations were continuing for those still unaccounted for. Emergency responders said the boat was overloaded, a common cause of such incidents in the area where river transport is widely used due to poor road infrastructure. Authorities warned the death toll could rise as search efforts continue. Local officials have urged residents to observe safety regulations when traveling by water, especially during the rainy season when waterways become more dangerous. Accidents are common on Nigeria's busy rivers, often caused by overloaded boats, poor maintenance, or failure to comply with safety regulations. Nicolas Maduro, the ousted Venezuelan president, and his wife were taken to the federal courthouse in Lower Manhattan ahead of their arraignment on charges of drug trafficking and other crimes 2 days after they were captured in a U.S. military raid in Caracas. Dramatic images earlier showed Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, being transferred to the courthouse in handcuffs, surrounded by armed officers. The U.S. says it is ready to work with Venezuela's remaining leaders if they make the right decision following the surprise removal of President Nicolas Maduro in recent U.S. operation. Speaking to media, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said the U.S. is going to judge everything by what they do, adding that if Venezuelan leaders fail to take the correct path, the U.S. will maintain multiple levels of influence to ensure its objectives are met. U.S. President Donald Trump has once again proposed annexing Greenland, citing its strategic location and mineral wealth. Speaking to reporters, Trump said they need Greenland from the standpoint of national security. The idea has been firmly rejected by Greenland's Prime Minister Jens Frederik Nielsen, who called it a fantasy and urged dialogue through proper channels and respect for international law. Denmark's Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen also responded, saying the U.S. has no right to annex any Danish territory and noting that Greenland is already covered under NATO's security guarantees, with a defense agreement in place granting the U.S. access to the island.
We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security, and Denmark is not going to be able to do it.
South Korea's President Lee Jae-myung is meeting Chinese leader Xi Jinping as he seeks to reset freight ties with his country's biggest trading partner. Regional security and Beijing's unofficial ban on Korean pop culture are also on the agenda for the meeting, which is their second summit since November when Xi visited South Korea. Li, who arrived in Beijing on Sunday, will then meet China's Premier Li Qiang, the Chairman of Parliament Zhao Leji, before flying to Shanghai. Speaking before Korean residents in Beijing on Sunday, Li said his visit would serve as a new starting point to fill in the gaps in Korea-China relations, restore them to normal and upgrade them to a new level. This is the first visit by a South Korean leader since 2019. The United Kingdom and France have carried out joint airstrikes on positions held by the Islamic State group in Syria, the two countries' defense ministries said. Images released by the French Armed Forces headquarters showed what it described as strikes on IS positions targeting infrastructures used by the militant group. British and French officials said the operation was aimed at disrupting Islamic State's ability to regroup and conduct attacks. No immediate details were provided on casualties or the extent of the damage, and assessments were ongoing. We'll take another break here. More international update and sports news coming up next.
Precious metals and European defense stocks advanced after reports of a U.S. intervention in Venezuela raised geopolitical risk concerns. Gold climbed 2.4% to $4,433 an ounce, and silver rose nearly 5% as investors moved into safe haven assets. Defense shares in the UK and Germany also gained on expectations of higher military spending. Oil prices were mostly stable, with Brent crude up 0.5% at $61 a barrel, while US energy stocks, including Chevron, rose on expectations of access to Venezuela's oil reserves. Venezuela's underinvested oil sector is believed to be unlikely to affect global prices immediately. Despite heightened tensions, broader markets remained resilient. Samsung Electronics plans to double the number of its mobile devices featuring Galaxy AI this year, largely powered by Google's Gemini, its co-CEO T.M. Rose said. The company aims to expand from 400 million AI-enabled smartphones and tablets in 2025 to 800 million in 2026. Rowe emphasized that AI will be integrated across all products, functions, and services, underscoring Samsung's push to enhance its competitive edge in the global AI race. Google launched Gemini 3 in November, showcasing advances in AI performance metrics. The rollout prompted OpenAI to accelerate development of its GPT 5.2 model. Samsung's internal surveys show awareness of its Galaxy AI brand has surged from 30% to 80% in just 1 year, signaling strong consumer adoption. Sri Lanka's Foreign Minister Vijita Herath says the government is considering offering free visas to visitors from 40 countries as part of efforts to boost tourism. He said the proposal is aimed at attracting more foreign travelers, increasing tourist arrivals, and supporting the country's economic recovery. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka Tourism Board Chairperson Buddhika Hewawasam says Sri Lanka is forcing on new markets and new tourism products to attract more visitors this year. Bank of Japan Governor Kazuo Ueda said the central bank will continue raising interest rates if economic and inflation trends remain on track. Last month, the BOJ lifted its policy rate to 0.75%, a 30-year high, as consumer inflation has exceeded its 2% target for nearly 4 years, though real borrowing costs remain deeply negative. The weaker yen, which touched 157.25 yen per USD, has pushed up import costs and broader inflation, prompting some BOJ board members to support further gradual rate increases. China has reintroduced a 13% value-added tax on condoms and other contraceptives, part of government measures to encourage higher birth rates. The move, effective from 1st of January, removed previous tax exemptions on these products, while childcare and marriage-related services remain tax-free. The policy comes as China faces a demographic slowdown, with its birth rate falling to a record low of 6.77 births per 1,000 people in 2023, the lowest in decades, and an aging population expected to see over a quarter of citizens aged 60 or older by 2035. Young urban consumers cite broader economic pressures, including high housing costs, career demands, and social inequality, as more significant barriers to starting families.
And time now for a sports update. The ICC T20 World Cup 2026 trophy has arrived in Nepal ahead of next month's tournament, co-hosted by India and Sri Lanka. This marks the first time the T20 World Cup trophy has been brought to Nepal. At a ceremony held at the President's residence, Sheetal Niwas, President Ramchandra Paudel, Nepal Cricket Association Chairperson Chatur Bahadur Chand and team captain Rohit Kumar Paudel unveiled the trophy. President Paudel described the occasion as a proud moment for Nepal, saying it sends a message that the country is moving towards the center of world cricket. The trophy will be on public display for 3 days at Basantapur Darbar Square, Bodhanath Stupa and Pokhara. Nepal previously hosted the ODI World Cup trophy in 2018. The T20 World Cup will begin on February 7 in India and Sri Lanka, featuring 20 teams across 8 venues over 29 days. Nepal is in Group C alongside England, West Indies, Italy and Bangladesh. Now, the issue of Tribhuvan University TU cricket ground contract renewal is being curiously followed by not only cricket lovers but also the international cricket community, especially after the Nepal Premier League NPL Season 2. While the TU cricket ground has become a stadium with government's billions of spending, the area belongs to one of the largest universities in the world, the Tribhuvan University, that is more for academics than sports. Our colleague Diksha Awasthi spoke to Minister for Education Mahabir Pun on whether he would renew the contract that is expiring in a few months' time.
Tribhuvan International Cricket Stadium, the home of Nepali cricket, but leased from the university, might need a replacement soon. With just a few months left before the expiry of the agreement between Tribhuvan University TU and the Cricket Association of Nepal CAN, uncertainty looms over the future of the country's most iconic cricket ground. The agreement between the university and CAN was first signed in 2002 for a period of 24 years and is set to expire in April 2026. After the recent NPL Season 2, the TU raised its concern about the disturbance in regular education activities, which has left the people confused if TU will renew the contract. Minister for Education, Science and Technology, also the Pro-Chancellor of Tribhuvan University, Mahabir Pun, has cleared the air, stating that while cricket is important, Tribhuvan University is foremost an academic institution.
It's okay, we can renew the agreement. It's okay, they can renew the agreement. But what I have been telling is, until the government finds some other places to build the next, cricket stadium, so it is okay, they can use the cricket stadium there because that's the only one that we have now in Nepal. And the government must find ways to build another cricket stadium. One is in Mulpani. Until they build another stadium in Mulpani or any other places, there is no choice. Which one is more important? Cricket game is more important, or the life of the students who goes to study there is more important.
Established in 1998, the Tribhuvan University International Cricket Ground now has a seating capacity of over 10,000 and has hosted Nepal's biggest cricketing moments, including ODIs, T20s, NPL and ACC tournaments. It remains one of only 2 International Cricket Council (ICC) approved ODI venues in Nepal, alongside the Upper Mulpani Cricket Ground. As the government flushed in billions of rupees to upgrade the facilities and the ground itself to international stadium level under the Ministry of Urban Development, the Education Ministry seems to be excluded. It is evident that a growing cricketing nation cannot rely permanently on a university campus and must develop dedicated stadiums. For now, Tribhuvan University has indicated it may allow a temporary extension of the agreement. However, the message is clear. Education comes first when it comes to a university, and Nepali cricket must find another permanent home sooner or later. Diksha Awasthi with camera person Samir Thapa reporting for NTV World.
Time now for the weather update, first from Nepal and then from around the world. And before wrapping up, here's a look at the top stories once again. District Administration Parsa imposes indefinite curfew in Birganj following protests over Dhanusha incident. Nepal's Election Commission says steps up poll preparations as digital misinformation emerges as major election challenge. Displaced families in Nepal's Kanchanpur struggle in temporary shelters amid harsh cold wave and delayed resettlement. Uncertainty over Tribhuvan University cricket ground lease raises questions about Nepal's future international cricket infrastructure. Delcy Rodriguez to be sworn in as Nicolas Maduro faces U.S. court appearance amid tensions. And T20 World Cup 2026 trophy arrives in Nepal ahead of historic public display and cricket celebration. That is all for the moment here on NTV World News Hour. Do join us through our social media pages and also get the latest update from our official website, nepaltelevision.com. I'm Sarah Sapsanamarai. Thank you for joining us. Good night.